Well, peace, everyone. Greetings, wherever you are. Uh, it'll take a short, I don't know. Hopefully, it will be finished in about 8 to 10 minutes. But you know how these things go. Sometimes they get extended because we have to expound on certain issues. Nevertheless, when the EU foreign minister made his speech about us being about having to take care of the build his garden in the jungle, I decided, it's about time that I get back into this what we call geopolitical space and say a few words. So I think this may be my fourth video about the subject. But as you look out across this landscape, there's a noise in the background from a generator running. The generator is running because electricity is off. And that's one of the problems that plagues Africa. Lack of good electrical power. Lack of good water. There's so much water in this land, yet people are dying of diseases caused by water. Lack of electricity, lack of medical care, can also be driven by water and electricity. Um, let's go back to 2014. There are always wars being fought. Um, Sometimes it's with weapons like what we call guns, ammunition. But most of the time it's just economic weapons. And in Africa, economic weapons kill millions of people each year from starvation. They they die from lack of food. Lack of food in a place where there's so much land for growing. But the problem is, we wait for somebody else to grow the food. Yes, we have small farmers, they grow a 50 by 50 meter plot of cassava or potatoes or green peppers, or in the case of Gambia, bitter tomatoes and onions. Small crops. But the vast majority of even Gambia, people look at this as a small country, but when I drive across it, I see thousands, millions of hectares of land not being used. Not being used. Anyway, this war that we are looking at began in 2014. Let's put a date of 2014 on it. When I talk to people around me about the events of today, a lot of them will say to me, "We will survive, God willing." And I looked at them with a smile. And he said, "You're laughing. But God will protect us." Do you understand what you're saying? That the man who you say is going to protect you gave you the knowledge to do it. But you're still sitting down on your behind saying that he will protect you. He gave you the knowledge. He taught you how to grow food. He, he gave you books. If you don't know it, how to read. Learn how to read. He gave you books. People wrote books on how to grow food. All those books are available to you. You have a cell phone in your hand that have all this information on it. But you're saying, God willing. Today, I'm going to give you a little information. For the whole Africa, for the whole Africans everywhere on the planet. This is a world war. It is a world war. I'm not talking about the one that they fought against Hitler and Mussolini and the Japanese. They have brought Africa into it for the first time. They have come to Africa saying, hey, you got to choose a side to fight on. Do you understand the ramifications of that? We don't have our leaders didn't give us the weapons to fight with. If we had food, if you had grown our food, we could say, look, you know what? Food is a weapon. As you can see, Ukraine and Russia, food is a weapon. Energy is a weapon. Every time Russia withdraw energy from Europe, and look what happened to Europe. It is a weapon. Infrastructure is a weapon. With the infrastructure of the Ukraine destroyed, Ukraine people, this war is fought between two people, and as I've heard said, this war is being fought to the last drop of Ukrainian blood. Anyway, when the war began, every African leader, they supposedly have economists in their government. And these economists were supposed to be able to, well, it's economics 101. Whatever happens in another country is going to affect you. And these economists should have been informing their governments about the events that happening in other countries and how it's going to affect every state in Africa. Every government, every president of every state, every governor of every state, every king in Africa should know how the events that are unfolding since 2014 going to affect their country. They knew that the food, energy, and raw materials would be affected. The distribution system would be interrupted. Yet none of them did anything to prepare for what was about to happen. I can give them a couple of suggestions on what they can do even today. The grains that we consume daily, you can see that we got rid of all the grains that used to be produced in Africa, large scale, and depend on the wheat that came from Russia. And this wheat is destroying the life of the people. The gluten in that wheat is destructive to your body, your health. Now, set up a plan and put out a plan, that plan to your population. We have this land that we would like you to farm. Whenever whatever you farm, this is what we want grown on this land. We want the products that we use in Africa to be grown on this land. The second step, contact any builder of farm equipment and say, look, we want constructed in Africa. You're not going to build it in your country and then export it here. You're going to build these 4 of them in Africa: East Africa, West Africa, Central Africa, and South Africa. You're going to produce the farm equipment that we need for Africa. So whatever we need, whether it be harvesters, planters, construction equipment, it will be built in Africa. When you build it in Africa, Africans now are going to maintain it, and they're going to learn how to build it. And within a few years, Africans are going to be building their own. I even see some young men throughout Africa already. They start to build their own tractors and farm equipment to speed up the process. So you contact, whether it be somebody from China, they produce farm equipment. China will build factories here to produce your farm equipment. Pakistan, India, or even where any place that produces farm equipment will come and build a factory here if you want it to produce that farm equipment. Under our feet, there is natural gas everywhere in Africa. Build processing plants in every state. You start out with 4 areas: East, West, Central, and South Africa. Build 4 of them and then expand it to all the states of Africa. Within 5 years, which is less time than you have to prepare for the collapse of this system set up by the European. They have about 8 years. So you build natural gas processing plant, and you can even get natural gas. You can get out of the garbage dumps that you fill. Landfills now, garbage dump. You can harvest your gas from there. People who grow pigs and cows, and they already know how to do that. So you can do it. It can be done. My third, another one is food processing. When you get your farm equipment and the land, you plant, and now you have your food. 6 months it takes to grow most crops. So you have time now to build processing plants, distribution houses in every state of Africa. Some states will require 2 or 3. Some states, in the Gambia, we can use 2 or 3. Some states will require more, but you start out. In the beginning, you have 1, and every 6 months you add another. Each product that you're going to produce, you have a place to distribute it, process it. Electricity. Natural gas You can build an electrical plant in 6 months from materials that are available on the market. You don't have to go out and buy any specialized equipment. Materials that are available on the market. Generators that use gas, which you're going to take out of the ground, your own earth. Every state should have power. Every state should have power. 2 generators, 1 backup. You take 1 offline every day, service it. 2 are running, take 1 off, service it. 3 generators. And you begin, and every year or so you add another one. So in 3 years, your country, your state, has adequate electrical power. Medical research. I'll make this my last one for this video. Medical research is necessary. Find out what's doing harm to our people in Africa. And then from our jungle, according to the EU foreign minister, we have every medication available. They come here and collect it. They come here and collect the trees, and then they go synthesize it and try to make it from gas now that comes out of the ground. Gas, you hear what I'm telling you? Natural gas. See that huge plant that covers, what was it, 100 hectares in Germany? Produces everything from fertilizer to medications. The German government just spent a lot of money to keep it from going out of business so they can be self-sufficient. So it will keep them in charge as the powerhouse in Europe. Medical research. Medical research. We build clinics. You only really need hospitals, clinics, where people learn how to keep from getting ill, instead of getting ill and then dying in the hospital, because the hospitals in Africa are terrible and the leaders don't make it better, because the leaders have the benefit of their Caucasian masters bringing them to Europe to get medical care. So this has to be done, and it can be done. Within 2 years, everything that I said on this video can be accomplished in the first phase. Some things we have 2 of, some things we have 3 of, some things we have 4 of. But it is the beginning of our self-sufficient, our plan for self-sufficiency. Anyway, end my video. I hope somebody takes the time to pass this on to all the leaders throughout Africa and let them know it's still time. There's still time that we can start, but every day that passes, it's going to take you 2 days to catch up. And when the time comes, the years pass, it's going to take you 3 years to catch up. And you might think that I'm joking. Some of you might be laughing. Find it funny. Some of you might be saying, we don't have to worry. We have a back door. But when your back door closed, I ask you again, Jean Paul Duvalier from Haiti. He thought he was safe with all his money in France. He ended up in France. The French had taken all his money, and he's living as a pauper in France. So it's up to y'all to decide where you want to end your days now. All right. Hope I didn't disturb everybody's day. But it's time that these things have to be. I mean, there are so many other people saying it, but, you know, like this, like I said, the EU foreign minister got me disturbed. And I have to say what I have to say now. I am not going to get upset with him. I'm going to start telling my people what we have to do. This is not because I'm upset with him. I'm just saying to my people, hey, what the hell are you doing? I mean, you can see it in your face. They're telling it to your face right now. They're not even ashamed to. They're not saying it in secret anymore. So you better start doing. Otherwise, you see their gardens in Europe. You go into the Queen's Garden. How many Africans do you see in the Queen's Garden? They're not even using them to cut the grass in the garden anymore. So it's up to you. Anyway, wherever you are, have a great day. Peace.